If you're in this season of overwhelm, you are not alone. You are already equipped to handle whatever's in front of you. You don't need to do more to be worthy of success. You're allowed to just slow down, simplify, and trust that what you're doing is enough. Hello and welcome to Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I'm Erin Hines, your darn good business coach, here to help you break the rules, trust your instincts, and own your brilliance unapologetically. In this space, we blend the power of human design with real-world business strategy, so you could ditch the shoulds, embrace your true self, and create a life and career that lights you up every single day. Ready to rebel, rise, and redefine success on your terms? Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. And if you've ever felt like you're carrying the weight of your never-ending to-do list while trying to hold it all together, this episode is for you. Over the last few months, I have been juggling networking events, client sessions. I got a new consulting project. I'm recording and editing this podcast every week. I'm creating content. I signed up for 2 masterminds I'm trying to keep up with. And on top of all that, I am trying to make room for eating, exercising, and just overall caring for myself. I was exhausted and not sleeping well because I was constantly thinking about what I had to do next. I had a very full plate, and to say the least, I was very overwhelmed. I may be a generator, but I literally don't have endless energy. I have had this feeling too many times to count. The difference now from back then is I know exactly how to break the overwhelming feelings and get back to leading my business with joy without feeling the overwhelm. This episode is not about productivity hacks or adding more to your plate. It's actually going to be the opposite. It's going to be about slowing down, simplifying, and realigning with what actually moves the needle in the direction you want to go. I'm going to tell you about my breaking point and what led me to start unwinding what the root of overwhelm is. So let's dive into it. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have felt overwhelmed in my leadership journey. And not just from doing too much, but from the pressure of trying to do it right, to not let anyone down, and at times to prove myself. And let me tell you, that kind of emotional weight can be so much heavier than an overwhelming to-do list. What we don't realize is the moment you feel overwhelmed, your nervous system is actually screaming for space, to breathe. But instead of responding with compassion, most of us respond with more pressure, more planning, more control, more pushing. And if you're anything like me, shaming myself for not being able to handle it all. And the result of that kind of overwhelm is total shutdown. In the past, when my body would tell me to slow down and I ignored it, my body would take matters into its own hands. It started with me getting sick or developing digestive issues doctors couldn't figure out. Then I decided to start my business. I was still working full-time as a business analyst, and I was spending all my after-work hours and weekends trying to launch my website, find clients, do all the business things that had to get done to get my business going. There were so many moving pieces, I felt like I had to just keep going, or I'd be falling behind and I would never catch up. I would never have that success I dreamed of. This was a kind of overwhelm that I had never felt before. And I started to freeze. I would sit at my desk, staring at my to-do list, not knowing where to focus. When I would finally choose a task to work on, my brain would start trying to map out every possible outcome before I even took a step. I kept pushing, and I did not know how to slow down. My body was clearly trying to tell me something, but I was moving way too fast to hear what my body had to say. Well, your body does not like to be ignored, and my body took it up a notch when I kept ignoring it, and I ended up being left with a bulged disc in my back. So not only was I in excruciating pain, I literally couldn't do anything other than just lay there, do nothing. And let's just say that gave me plenty of time to think. And with all that time to think, I slowly started to realize there was nothing wrong with me when I couldn't handle all that was on my plate. I was doing a lot. I was trying to carry the world in a sense. So there was no point in shaming myself. Shaming myself for not being able to handle it all was actually making my situation worse. Humans aren't designed to work 24/7, yet I was trying to. I realized my fear of messing up in my business or not being good enough had created such an overwhelm. The pressure I was putting on myself to succeed was far outweighing just this workload. And the more I dug into these realizations, the more it became clear that when I get overwhelmed or stressed from having to do so much, it's not because I'm lazy or incapable. It's because I'm putting so much pressure on myself to be perfect, to not fail. But it's also because I'm trying to operate outside my natural rhythm. And a big part of that was I really needed to stop trying to do it all, fix it all, and solve every problem for everyone. Around the time I hurt my back, I had just started to dabble in human design, so that's exactly what I turned to for answers on how my energy naturally wanted to flow, to tap into uncovering what was causing this overwhelming feeling every time. Where was the perfectionism and fear of failure coming from? Now, you could go back and listen to the individual episodes on each human design type for an in-depth of your energy flow, but here is a quick recap. Generators and manifesting generators have endless energy. But you only have that endless energy when you're doing things that light you up. That means don't say yes because you think you should. Say yes because you actually feel excited when you think about doing that tasks. So for me as a generator, I started piling on a bunch of tasks that didn't bring me a lot of joy. And so it was draining me out. And when I wasn't seeing progress, it was overwhelming me because then I kept trying to do more and more. And it was just this endless cycle. So I needed to come back to focusing on what lit me up. And now for projectors and manifestors and reflectors, you naturally need more breaks. You don't have this endless energy like a generator or manifesting generator has. And when you're tired, it's a sign to step back and rest. And there is zero shame in needing to rest. It's in those moments of rest for you that you're able to reevaluate your next steps and realign to what your next best move is for you. This rest is so key for projectors, manifestors, and reflectors because when you get caught up in this go, 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 you often miss where you need to redirect yourself and you end up going down a path that's not meant for you. So really understanding how your energy flows and what you need to thrive is so key as a leader and a business owner, because the more that you're able to tap into your energy and how your energy wants to flow, the more energy you actually end up having, and you're not wasting your energy on tasks that drain you. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed or wondering what's wrong with you, you are not alone. I've been there. I know so many of my clients have been there too. But most importantly, I want you to remember you are not broken when you feel overwhelmed, like you can't handle all you have to do. What you need to focus on is creating more space in your schedule to slow down and hear what your body is telling you. I so deeply believe your body has all the answers. You already know exactly what you need to do. You just need to slow down enough to listen to what your body says. You need to recalibrate to how you're designed. And when I started doing that, my body was clearly telling me to stop. I was creating more work for myself than I needed to, but I was so caught up in what I was doing, get that task done, that I did not listen to that voice in my body telling me, stop, you're doing too much you don't need to do. And when I slowed down, I heard that voice. I started taking time to reevaluate what I was doing. And if I only listened to my body sooner, I wouldn't have gotten so far down this rabbit hole of overwhelm, and I could have gotten back on track sooner. And I find it funny that my body was telling me to slow down and simplify things, because I've given my clients advice for years about streamlining their systems. And then I forgot to take my own advice, which I think so many of us could relate to. We tell people things, but we can't seem to take our own advice, which, yeah, there's a whole nother story. But For me, I would get so excited with so many ideas and I would just start taking off with it. But I would get so far down the whole rabbit hole on a new project or an offer that I would overcomplicate it and make it so much more complicated than it needed to be. If I slowed down a little bit, I could have been a little more intentional and made it simple and digestible for my nervous system without overwhelming myself. And that's exactly what happened to me a few months ago when I started taking too much on again. I think it's very easy for us as leaders and business owners to want to accomplish it all. We're ambitious people. And so we start saying yes without necessarily like, oh, wait, does this fit in my schedule? Do I have the capacity to take on more? And for me, I was starting to implement things without enough intention. As a business analyst, I was trained to simplify workflows to prevent backups. So when I finally slowed down enough last month and took a really clear look at my life, I realized I was the one creating the bottlenecks in my business, and I was creating my own overwhelm. And it was time for me to slow down, zoom out, and see where I was spending most of my time and how I could simplify those tasks. So where did I start? My marketing. For me, as a business owner, I spend a lot of my time marketing myself, trying to find new clients. I took a deep look and where was I spending most of my time marketing and where was I doing too much? And one of those big things is this podcast, the filming, the editing, the uploading to YouTube, and then trying to post everywhere to promote the episode. As much as I really love my podcast, it does weigh me down a little bit because there is a lot to remember, all the steps that I need to take to produce this episode. So it might seem simple, but I made a checklist. And this checklist allowed me to just reference it without trying to remember all the little steps I had to do. That mental load was a huge weight lifted off of me because in a way I wasn't having enough intention in exactly what I was going to do. And when I mapped it out and made that checklist, I clearly saw where I could speed up and not spend so much time each week producing this podcast. Then my second step with my marketing was, like I mentioned last episode, I decided to stop posting daily on social media and only post when I was inspired. Now, I took that a step further and I decided to stop forcing myself to post new content every time. I have plenty of content. Why not make it easier on myself and start repurposing these podcasts? I already have great content. Let's just reuse it. By doing those simple things, simplifying what I was actually spending my time doing, it lightened my mental load and I started sleeping better. I had more energy because I was getting enough sleep every night, and I was starting to feel more excited and creative because I also had this space to breathe. My schedule was not as packed because I wasn't trying to take on quite as much. Even though I didn't necessarily remove a task from my list, I simplified it in a way that gave me more wiggle room, so I had that time to pause and breathe and move with a little more intention. One of the biggest game changers for me was also leaning into my human design and how I'm designed to make decisions. As a leader, you're making decisions constantly. And if you can know the best way you're meant to make decisions, that just makes it so much easier for you when you have to make a decision. In your human design, it's all about your authority, which tells you how you are designed to make decisions. And for me as a generator, my authority is emotional. If you don't know what your authority is, you could look up your human design on my website for free, and I'll leave the link below in the notes. So for me, when I make decisions as an emotional authority, I am designed to pay attention to my emotions, to know what the right decision for me is. And that means I need to really be tuned into what my body is feeling. When I feel excited, or when I feel down, or angry, or frustrated. And so when I did this recently, trying to decide what was working for me and not in my marketing and where I could simplify things. When I tuned into my body, that's when I realized social media was giving me a full body no. That's how I knew it was a sign. And as I know from past experience, when my body is telling me something, I need to listen. It might not look like what the gurus are telling you to do, but my body knows what's best for me and I need to listen to that. So my body was giving me a full body no for social media. But when I thought about podcasting, that really light me up. I love talking to you. I love producing these episodes every week. And that was a sign I really needed to go all in on these episodes and step back from social media. This is not what traditional business advice says. It tells you to post more, be visible, be everywhere, hustle harder. But when that does not feel right in my body, when I'm not 100% fully behind what I'm doing, my clients are going to feel that. So if I just keep posting on social media and it's draining me because my inspiration and creativity isn't there, it's going to frustrate me. It's going to drain my energy where my clients deserve my energy. When my clients work with me, when I'm feeling 100% in the moment, excited, they feel that energy. But when I'm overwhelmed and reacting to everything, I cannot be that safe, grounded leader my clients need me to be. So when I paused, got quiet and tuned in, I decided to trust to do business differently. And that changed everything for me. I show up to do business what feels right for me. And that is what's changing my life and the way I'm succeeding in a way that's sustainable and super duper fulfilling for me. I also want to get into a little more about where overwhelm comes from. And you might think overwhelm comes from, oh my gosh, I have this long to-do list. But why do you feel overwhelmed from looking at your to-do list or all that you have on your plate? Overwhelm comes from living in the future. The planning, the worrying, the trying to outsmart what you think will happen. I have to do this task to prevent this from happening, to look good, to whatever it is. So when you're operating from this future mindset, it's creating this overwhelm. But peace comes from being here in the moment, being present. Because I want to remind you, you cannot predict the future. I talk about being present and being in the moment because overcoming overwhelm and burnout isn't necessarily all about doing less and then stressing yourself out trying to figure out how could I do less. But sometimes it's just about simplifying what you're already doing. And it's also shifting how you feel as you do it. Being more present paired with simplifying allows you to move mountains but feel good while you're doing it. It allows you to have breathing room to listen and flow with what your body wants and space to take care of yourself so you don't get overwhelmed and burned out. So now, when I'm spiraling and overwhelmed, I come back to the present moment and ask, what's actually working and not working for me? And where can I simplify what I'm doing? What can I release? And what feels good right now? Those questions bring me back to the present moment so I could stop thinking about all those what ifs of the future. When I'm present, I can move with intention and clarity and take one day at a time. Because again, you can't predict the future. What you can control, though, is right now and what you want to spend your time doing. And I think if you're like me, you want to focus on what makes you feel good. So why not just do that right now? And I also like to remind myself, overwhelm doesn't mean you're failing. It means your soul is craving breathing room, simplicity, alignment, and a little grace. So stop beating yourself up when you do have these feelings. You're a human, you're meant to feel. You're not meant to be perfect and conquering the world at all moments. So give yourself a little grace and don't shame yourself. There is nothing wrong with you. So if you're in this season of overwhelm, I want you to hear this. You are not alone. You are already equipped to handle whatever's in front of you. You don't need to do more to be worthy of success. You're allowed to just slow down, simplify, and trust that what you're doing is enough. Try reframing overwhelm as a sign, not a problem, but a sign, a redirection, a call to recalibrate, and not a reason to quit or beat yourself up. It's an opportunity to get curious, make a choice to rebel, and to change your course. Thank you, my listeners, for tuning in again this week. If this episode resonated with you, please leave a review and let me know what you think and what you want to keep hearing from these episodes. I love hearing from you. Again, I'm a generator. I need things to respond to, so your feedback means the world to me, and I could keep delivering content you want to hear and learn about. Until next time, keep rebelling, keep rising. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I hope you feel inspired to break free from those shoulds in your life and trust your inner compass as you create a life and business that truly lights you up. Remember, every day is a chance to rebel against the ordinary and rise into your authentic power. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow rebel who's ready to lead their lives unapologetically. Until next time, keep trusting your intuition, keep breaking the rules, and most importantly, keep rising.